this good enough? Yeah. Hello, peoples.
Whoa, coming in hot.
Jeez Louise, do we turn it down? Or do we... You know what? Before we go anywhere, PK.
What?
It's Christmas time.
Merry Christmas.
We hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas. But, we got hats, mate. Let's don these hats for the moment. You try and see which one fits your noggin most probably.
Does that work?
Now we're on.
Well, you need my belly. You need my belly, but the rest up top, you got it nailed.
I have red for Christmas. The old hat got sent that from the people at Old Guys Rule.
Oh yeah, Don Craig.
Do you know Don?
Yeah,
He's
very
a legend.
well.
He sent me these last Christmas, and this Christmas we're even more into the spirit of things. And I want to thank Old Guys Rule and Don for the Chrissy hats. PK, it suits you, mate.
Yeah, super fashion.
You know, I'm going to let this one out of the bag. One thing people don't know about PK is that he can very easily grow hair. He chooses not to have hair. See, look at that coverage. Yeah, so he can
grow hair. Pretty good
hair.
for 56 years old.
Mate, I can't grow. Well, mine grows down, but the top, it sort of starts about here.
You got a bald spot?
Yeah, massive bald spot. Comes from here down. And a quick little story about the first time I realised I had a bald spot. I didn't know I was balding or thinning in here. I had no idea because I hardly ever look at it.
It's a bad day when you realise it, huh?
Oh, my God. You know how it happened? You know Holly Wawn?
Yeah.
The commentator and the surfer. And I was doing coaching with Holly. I brought her to Hawaii for her first trip ever, and she's like 13. And one day she goes, "Hey, BL, how's that Devon patch you're sporting on the top of your head?"
What's a Devon patch?
So Devon is processed meat, like bologna, like that. And we would call a Devon patch that round patch of baldness in the top of a human's head.
She's not shy, huh?
She just laid it on me. I had no idea. I did not even have an inkling that I was balding. And she goes, "How's the Devon patch on top of your head?" So I just go, and then when no one's home, I sneak to the bathroom and have a look and go, "Oh, I'm bald. I've got a bald patch." It's hats or nothing from bald on. But then, where you lack in some areas, you compensate in others.
Isn't that bizarre? You can grow that much down there on the chin, but up top, the follicles aren't reacting.
It's someone's idea of a joke, mate. It's like having a nose this big that you can't breathe through. Another one of them jokes.
You've covered that with the hair, too. You've covered all the ugly.
I actually feel the moustache getting sucked up into the nose when I'm trying to breathe
through it.
You've
covered so much of your face with that beard, huh?
Sunscreen?
I just see eyes poking out.
Classic. I love it, actually. I feel, I'm attached to it, and I figure...
It's attached to you.
Jeff, Erin's dad, Erin Brooks, who we had staying here during the Pipeline Masters, and today we're going to look at the Pipeline Masters. That's going to be one of the main things we check out because it was a show, wasn't it? It was a great event. A lot of historic moments in that we all loved. But Jeff said to me, it wasn't so long back that he said to his wife, "I'm never cutting my hair again." And we see how he looks. He's got the long hair, the beard, the thing. And, who knows what happens here in another 5 or 10 years.
Stick around.
Stick around. I guaranteed. I've already been, I've already been... accused or...
Accused?
Well, accused is a strong word, but when someone looks at you, I've had people look at me so harshly where I've said, "Would you like it if I moved? Would you prefer if I moved?"
Oh, because you look homeless and sketchy.
And they go, "No, sorry, mate, you're Australian, you're not from here. Oh, we thought you were homeless and we've had trouble with people breaking into our house."
What's worse, being homeless or being Australian? What was more offensive to the person?
Being Australian is something that I've lived with all my life. I'm quite comfortable with that. And then, being judged, the book being judged by its cover was what they did of surfers, didn't they?
Right.
Yeah, surfers, no hope as
well,
beach bums.
I feel like a bunch of bum surfers might have set a bad example, and when it bleeds, it leads. So the news media at the time would cover bad deeds done by those surfies. There were some druggies and some... So we come in, our lineage has both, and, people pick on the bad, right?
Well, there's so much good. It's like the world itself, isn't it? There's so much good in and
Hard
around.
to focus on that in the news, though. They don't like that.
They don't like that because, fear makes you more controllable because you're on tenterhooks. You don't know what's going to happen next, and you're looking for someone to save you or tell you. So they like us being in that place, and it's a place that I don't like being in. You know what I mean? I don't live in fear. I've lost my dad when I was young, so I know it can happen. You can go quick. I've had a heart attack, so I know it can happen to you in a moment too. But with all of that having gone on, I still don't live in fear. You know, I wake up or I feel things in my chest, and the amount of stuff that I push through in terms of something that could stop me or restrict me living, that I consciously just push through and don't accept, is the discipline that we all need to have, is that strength to push through, because it's not a game. We're not living in fairyland. It's quite a serious world we live in.
Despite our hats, it's a very serious world we're living in.
Merry Christmas, people, and welcome to the Stoked Bloke Show. That was our longest introduction yet.
Yeah, we're not even done with the intro.
No, we're still going everywhere, aren't we? We're going to look at the Pipeline Masters, PK. What was the highlight for you?
The highlight for me was the few good waves that came in, and also just the fact that Vans is doing an event apart from the WSL. It's awkward times on the North Shore, right? So there's 3 contests here at Pipe, and only one of them is a WSL event. There's no finals here. Vans, having the permit for that time period, did a unique format, sort of mimicked the backdoor shootout format.
Yep. But
the surfers only surfed 3 times in 30-minute heats, so a lot of surfers didn't get a chance to get a wave. The shootout, you're going to have your surfers surfing 8 times over 4 days. So they only surfed 3 times because they had men's, women's, 60 people. It was just a different format, but I appreciate the different format. I appreciate them doing something, pushing money into the community, and yeah, my highlight was just that it happened.
Yeah. And
I mean, the surf industry is pretty bad right now, Barton. So it's good for a lot of our friends here on the North Shore that got into that event to get some money. You know what was really nice? GoPro offered every athlete, this was Anthony Walsh's idea, $1,000 per heat if you wore a GoPro or took it out in your mouth.
Yeah.
And they would put it on your board. Now, GoPro was sponsoring the event and trying to figure out, should they just throw money into it? But instead, there was a chance for surfers who aren't the top surfers in the world maybe, but they got invited to this event to make $3,000 just by putting that GoPro on. It was a pretty good little marketing, I don't know what you call it.
Ploy.
Well,
yeah. It works for the team riders. It works for everyone. It's a win-win.
That's nice.
It would, at $1,000 a heat, I suppose that's considerable money.
It's pretty good money right now in a down economy. Yeah.
And that's the point, isn't it? That the economy is down. It's hard for people to get.
It's Christmas time.
But the Vans Pipeline Masters ran.
Yeah, it's Christmas. You need that money.
Yeah, we all need that money because it's going in one hand and out the other at this time of year.
What do you think of the event?
You know what? I loved who won the event, both the male and the female.
They got it right.
They got it right. Moana Jones, hats off to you. If it wasn't Christmas, I would take my hat off. That's right.
You already did.
Yeah. And replaced it.
The women had, for the finals, they had incredible conditions. It was the best conditions of the event.
Yes.
So again, this is a half-hour, 40-minute window. You got to get lucky.
And it was inconsistent, that swell, wasn't it? There were 20 minutes without waves at times. The highlight packages look amazing, but there are a lot of surfers that we know who didn't get the opportunities they would have hoped for.
Yeah, Koa Rothman surfed 3 times, never even sniffed a wave, you know, just because there wasn't waves during his time. That's what I'm saying. It's a difficult format, but I thought it was fair for everyone all around. And it was fun to watch.
For me, who judges the backdoor shootout for the last couple of years, and again this coming year.
Judge. I forget that you judge that event.
Yeah. It's a heavy responsibility, and it makes me understand the
because the contest director is a serious dude.
Well, Uncle Eddie goes, you judge. I go, of course I'm judging, mate. He respects you not on that panel if you're not respected.
Yep.
They're not going to put a muppet there who doesn't know what they're doing, and they put you there because they respect you. So in that sense, the opportunity to me is a compliment, and they trust you and empower you to represent their brand.
Not easy to score Pipe, is it?
And, well, you know what we have to do in this job? This year it's Flynn Novak, who I've worked with the last 2 years, and Dingo is coming back to help us.
Dean Morrison, yep.
And the thing that our job, we've got to compare the first wave on the first day with the last wave on the 4th day and all those different heats and somehow put that jigsaw puzzle together so that everything makes sense and everything relates to everything else. And it's so complicated. And it's so difficult to do. It's the hardest thing I do. Makes commentary and other things feel like walk in the park. But it's the situation that it's great because people surf a lot. And in this event, they surf with their friend. In the shootout, they surf with their friends. Yep. So there's no hassling, there's no nothing. There's taken turns, and everybody in that team's going to get good ones, and their teammates are going to make sure they get good ones because there's a team that wins as well as individuals.
Yeah, so if we're contrasting the Pipe Masters format, which they did borrow a bit, 4-man heats, you surf round robin 3 times, the shootout's 8 times, and you are surfing with your own team that you've kind of picked.
No jerseys.
It's
another thing which is very cool. No jerseys, no sponsors.
In the shootout, yeah. And in the Pipe Masters, it's a little more dog eat dog, no priority, 4-man heats, and you kind of want to beat the other guys in your heat. So,
and you know, the other thing, we're talking about Moana Jones. The thing that I don't like, right, is that the Vans Pipeline Masters has a certain amount of credibility, and then it has team riders. And team riders might not be necessarily people who get a start in that event if they weren't sponsored by Vans.
Most of them would not.
And if you think about the women's category or division for me, there's only one person in the world in those type of ways when while there's rights, there's other women who come into consideration and definitely could beat Moana if there were rights on offer. When there's only lefts, and it's barreling lefts, and it's, 6 to 10, solid and gnarly, had teethy. There's only one other female surfer who can match Moana Jones. Who do you think that may be? Vahine Fierro? Vahini's the only one who can, in my mind.
Right.
I don't see the
Did she get invited? She was invited.
She would no. She wasn't in the event.
She wasn't invited.
She was sitting here in the house next door to us the whole event, not invited, didn't get a start. So that's where I come to that complication.
Yeah, when they invite people, there was a lot of people left off the list, and it made a lot of people feel sour. Also, you're calling it a Pipe Masters. There's no Italo. There's no Gabriel Medina.
Kelly Slater.
Yeah,
but
Kelly Slater.
The former, the one from the tour, who is arguably the best surfer at Pipeline, one of them ever, is John Florence, and he won the men's. And it put everything, like when Moana won and John won, I was like, sick. And it was a great event. We enjoyed it. Yeah. Super fun to watch.
Really fun.
I don't like the confusion around the pipeline, but then when I look at the WSL qualification process, you qualify through the championship, QS championship.
You qualify through waves that are
Challenger
nothing
series.
like these waves.
Yeah, nothing. So you've got a spot in pipeline that came from other conditions. So none of the events are perfect.
In the old days, Liam, Love Hodel, a lot of guys in the community would rally and fight to get a trials. So at least a couple guys could make it through. I think it used to be like 8 guys made it through, then 4 guys made it through, then 2, then 1, Yeah. But it'd be nice if there was 4 spots for local. It's really easy to know who's good at pipeline. And you put those guys in the trials. We call them specialists, just like Chopu used to have trials.
Yeah. And it's easier now. It's more confusing now because there's so many great surfers at pipeline.
Well, you could just throw them all. There's not that many. There's the 32. You could do a 32-man trials.
No, you could 100%.
That'd take one day.
And as when you come through those trials, and I remember this, you always used to get the pipeline specialist. There's number 1, 2, 3.
Right, so you were ranked high, and then you'd be going up against the Jamie O'Brien.
You'd be going up against the Liam McNamara in my day, or Davey Cantrell.
Yeah.
The year I won the world title was
guys that could win the event. Johnny Boy won from the trials that one year, 97, 98.
Yeah. So that there's not one event that is the perfect Pipe Masters situation. I do respect the cultural integrity of the shootout. That's the old boys, bro. That's the OGs. That's a really core event. And when you look at all the people around that event, there's so much of them are the history of surfing here in Hawaii.
We're going wall to wall on coverage of that event. For sure. We got a great team in there.
Yeah. Tell us the team.
Kelly Slater, Carissa Moore. Barton Lynch. Oh, I'm sorry, not Barton Lynch. You're judging. Matahi Droe, Koa Smith, Kai Lenny.
Yeah, it's
so that's
massive.
it. Kelly, Carissa, Kai, Koa, Matahi.
And was the team? Where did the team come last year? Do you know, 3rd or something? Or do you know? I don't even know where.
There's no real way to know that.
Right.
We know the winning team, but I don't think you get much more info.
Who was the
than
winning
that.
team?
We're all winners for having.
That's right.
Kelly Slater got the best wave I've ever seen ridden at Pipeline and got a 9.
Well, I gave him a 9.
Yeah, in relation to everything. But I don't know,
Well,
it's really hard to tell. Like you said, you got to judge day 1 to day 4. Let's talk about the shootout, Judge. You can go to what?
Well, we can keep going.
It's 0 to 10.
It's 0 to 10. That's
if something crazier happens,
then the 10 you've already given, we can go to 11.
It's like Spinal Tap. This one goes to 11.
And if something higher than 11 happens, we can go to 12. So there's this opportunity to grow with, and that's why earlier rides end up at 9s and stuff, because you're going, we've got 3 days to go.
And
and
scores
it's
will be
pumping
changed
out
later, too, in relation to what's happened, huh?
We would go, at times we have gone back on controversial situations, watched the videos and reassessed where that wave fits in relation to others to try and keep things exactly as they should be. But again,
You never see that in the WSL.
it's a tough job, mate, you know. But again,
They don't have much time in the WSL as people are advancing through heats, though.
well, and the good thing about the WSL format, and even their format that it will be here at Pipe, is you are in the water against the people. They're the only people that can beat you. You can't be beaten by someone in another heat at another point in the
Right.
day with another condition who gets the wave at a better point in time when yours surfed and it wasn't that good. I think I remember the New Earth Project team first heat not having such great waves in the first round.
That's correct.
You know, so there's those situations. That's where over all of those rounds,
And
it
other
comes
teams
out in
had
the wash.
really good waves in their heat.
Yeah,
But
it
then we
comes
had
out
a
in the
good day.
wash.
We had one really good day where
You got
Kelly,
a nine.
Koa, Matai, Chris, everyone got good waves. But you're also speaking when you say WSL format, don't forget. So upcoming January 4 to 16th, backdoor
Yes.
shootout. January 29 to February 11th, the Visla collaboration with Florence Marine X, Pipeline Pro.
There you go.
So there's 2 more huge events coming at Pipeline.
Yeah, and then Sunset Beach is after that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or before, or somewhere in there is Sunset Beach as well. So the winter season, that's my dislike with the way it is that we were now at the end of the winter season. There was this cultural celebration in the new year that is the backdoor shootout, and then, you know, it was kind of done. But now that the winter season, everyone still comes for November, December. You've got Holly Wawn Pipeline. You still see all of that happening with that crowd. Then it goes on into the new year with the Pipe and the Sunset events in January and February, and takes so many waves and days and time away from the local people just so they can run their events. But because they weren't happy in December, they thought they'd get better in February or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I think at a point it's got to consolidate itself back. The backdoor shootout sits in its own space as a local cultural event.
Yeah,
in
there's
my
teams
mind.
from Peru, 5-man team, 5-man team
Japan.
from Japan, Brazil.
Yeah, and brands. So it's got this diverse, you know, network of people in it. It's got its own place. It doesn't sort of sit with the other ones. The Pipe Masters and the Pipeline Pro sit with each other, and I know about that because when I won Pipeline, it was the Pipeline Pro, so I'm not a Pipe Master. I didn't win the Pipe Masters.
But the event you won
Yes. Was the
clinched
last
the
event.
world title
Yeah,
for you.
but
And when was it? In January?
January 2nd was the day that it finally ran. Yeah, because that was one of those waiting periods, maybe the worst that has ever been for a Triple Crown.
That day was insane, though.
Until that day came around.
So there was still a Triple Crown, though.
Yeah, still Triple Crown.
And
Holly Sunset.
who sponsored that event? Was it Billabong?
Billabong. And that event could have gone mobile. It was always going to Pipeline. But, you know, I feel like the mobile concept, if you're doing one event,
Mobile's unreal.
Holly Sunset Pipeline, have a day at each, move it, that concept would be a world championship tour event in itself. But, you know, congratulations to Vans. Big congratulations to John Florence. That felt so fitting, it felt so right, and it kind of keeps, I don't know, a status quo in place almost, where you go, you know, that's what you kind of would have expected for him.
They're lucky they got those 2 winners, huh?
Yeah, and Moana, incredible.
The cream does rise. I mean, Balaram was a legit pipeline surfer. You know, he'd be someone you'd want to put in the trials if you were having a
What about
trials.
Harry Bryant's wave?
Yeah, that 10
like
was
where
insane.
you might look at Harry Bryant, and go Vans, Wildcard, sponsors only in
Air
there because of his
specialist.
sponsor. You know, free surfer, boom, 10-point ride. Well, maybe he deserves his spot. Yeah. So there's so many great surfers in the world today, and so many, you know, fields that could put on a good event. How many? There's most probably enough people to put on 2 really good Pipe Masters without overlapping a single person.
Right. 2 different fields of
Two
surfers.
different fields of different
interesting.
surfers, and you go, here's one field, here's another, and they'd be equally as good events. That's what the Pipeline Masters taught me. I watched that. It felt like I was watching everything else. To all the people on the beach, it felt like everything else. Sure, the world champions weren't there, with the exception of John, and he did, as the cream, stood above, rose above. So, good stuff though all round, and
That was a great event.
good way to lead into Chrissy. Yeah, once again, peoples, Merry Christmas. We hope 2023 for you was as great as it was for us. We're looking forward to doing more great things in the new year. As you said, we've got the Backdoor Shootout coming up. We're going to be bringing you that from here, the Pipeline Studios. Big thank you to A New Earth Project for everything they do to make our world a better place. We're gifted to be able to work with you guys and contribute to a better world for the future. Merry Christmas, people. We love yous. PK?
Cheers.